area that's most predominantly people of color. At one point, I went over there to see if there was any type of cell surveillance going on using a savvy tool called Snoop Snitch, which is just another cell phone that can detect when things are being nefarious things are being done or trying to be done to the phone. And almost immediately upon getting there, I went to sit by one of the fires that was in the street, just talking to people. I pulled out the cell phone, and lo and behold, there was two attempts, which looked exactly like what an MC catcher would do.
This technology, if used in inappropriate ways, can chill people's speech and association, could be used to target dissidents, could be used to surveil protesters. It could be used in the service of a really disturbing police state.
It's been interesting to try and track down which agency could have been behind it, because in Minnesota, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which is a state level law enforcement, they have two devices that could have done it. We have the U.S. Marshal Service, which has a Stingray, and we have Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, which also has a similar device called a Kingfish. So there's at least four of these devices in the state, and when we attempted to kind of talk to them to see if they would be verify our data, so to speak, every agency we spoke with said no, including the FBI.
Sure, police and other agencies didn't talk about their new gadgets. But Sam had found something even more interesting in regards to the FBI and Stingrays.
So I uncovered in May about FBI planes flying around American cities, doing surveillance of some kind. And so I published the tail numbers of 100 of these aircraft after tracking back the fact that they were registered to fake companies that didn't exist. These companies were named things like FVX Research or NG Research, things like that seemed really fake. So I looked into those companies. It turned out that they didn't have any presence on Secretary of State websites, and they were simply there for the purpose of registering airplanes. So looking at the tail numbers, where they'd been, they were circling American cities, even places like Disneyland, repeatedly. So I knew it was some kind of surveillance operation. Originally, in my first piece, I wrote that they're probably using Stingray surveillance or other kind of cell phone surveillance, but also I knew about a place, Dayton, Ohio, that had a contract with a private company to do what's called wide area persistent surveillance. So they literally have extremely advanced imaging software that was originally developed for the military in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, where they can survey an entire city, like 32 square miles, for example, everything moving, like cars, people walking, sometimes even birds. And I knew Dayton, Ohio, because the ACLU and other people had reported on this.
We don't know a lot about what kinds of technology have been on these planes. The FBI has said that only about 5 times has it operated flights with cell site simulators aboard. But we know that the U.S. Marshal Service has flown a lot of flights with cell site simulators aboard over U.S. cities, looking for fugitives or helping local police departments apprehend people or find people. We know that Immigration and Customs Enforcement has purchased a kit that allows it to install a Stingray device on an airplane. The privacy violations that are possible when police are putting a cell site simulator on an airplane are even greater than when they're driving around in a vehicle with one.
Oh, they haven't told me anything, really. Every time I've tried to get data from them, they've come back with, we can't explain what's going on here because it'll divulge too much information that could harm national security. They told the Associated Press a week after I published my story, and they said that they, on occasion, use Stingray. And they also noted in that they're using this advanced imaging. I believe this was developed by, I want to say the National Reconnaissance Office, but you can see they're talking about drones here. You can see, like, this is a one target, like, and then this is a system called Gorgon Stare, which was more, and then more advanced Gorgon Stare plus Argus. So Argus was one of the ones that was used over Dayton, Ohio, and you can just see that they're advancing the technology, being able to track more and more moving targets on the ground. They call it wide area airborne surveillance. They downplayed it a lot, making it sound like it was almost as if people just had binoculars in the aircraft, it was obvious that it was imaging as well as cell phone surveillance. And they're not forthcoming at all with, how often they're using a Stingray in one of these planes or Stingray or related technology. But if I had to guess, it would be, if not every plane, pretty frequently.
These devices